In a place called Hobbytown, there are all manner of collectors. He's a cantankerous commenter who is decidedly fresh to the hobby.
What do you say there, liver lips?
And he's a country gentleman, getting by on good old-fashioned Southern charm.
But when I'm with my cards, I am carefree like a 12-year-old.
Can two vintage card collectors coexist in conversation without driving each other crazy?
The cracked ice house treasures, kaboomies.
Kaboomies.
Kaboomy, one of one.
You got to get some Southern drawl in this YouTube community, man.
This is Hobby Talk with the odd couple, Tony the Southern Collector and Mike Petty.
Mike.
What's up there, beaver feet? What's shaking?
We made it to episode 3 without being kicked off this thing.
I don't know how. And you know what? It's a rough day today. I poured it extra sloppy right to the top.
Yeah, man. Get your little cubes in there. Get a little water down in a minute. It'll be all good. What do you got in the glass there?
Just a little bit of bourbon, kind of trying to soften the load. It's been a real rough day. Swallowed a lot of aggression today, along with a lot of pizzas.
Well, we got to get that out of you. This will be a good break from that, and we'll talk a little cards.
I can't wait. Boy, I really needed this. Been looking forward to it all day.
Well, what we're gonna do, we're gonna hit Strongsville a little bit. We'll hit a little bit of pet peeves, share a little pickups. And then obviously we'll end with that petty minute and you can blow some steam off.
Oh boy, it could be rough if that glass goes by the end of the show. I could blow my top today.
Well, there's been a lot of Strongsville talk. And what was that, 3 weeks ago?
It seems like a while ago. Yeah, I had another trip planned right behind it. It was just a blur, to be honest with you. I was so tired after it. The fact I was telling you today, I think I slept until almost 10:30, 11 o'clock today. I'm still trying to catch up on my sleep.
Well, it happens. It happens when you get old like us. You know, you got to sleep. You got to get that beauty rest too. So, but yeah, Strongsville. Yeah, my biggest concern about going out, wasn't a concern, but I was thinking, man, there ain't no way it's living up to the hype. All the stuff I've heard, and then you hear about the hotel and how horrible it is and all that kind of stuff. But I got to be honest with you, man, it didn't just live up to the hype. It surpassed the hype. It was amazing. So I don't know. I mean, I had a blast. It was the first time I've ever met you in person.
Yeah,
I met Darren and Greg last year at the National, but I had never met you. I met Mookie at the National, and I met several other YouTube people at the National last year. But man, it was awesome. It just felt like a family. And the way Greg describes it is the best, where it's like the hotel's like dorms and you're just a bunch of dudes in the dorms, and then you walk across the parking lot and you're going to class and you're hanging out. But man, I can't wait till next year.
it was like the college days. And I questioned myself going back again because I had such a great time last year too. I said, how can you top that? But it did live up to my expectations so much that I have to go back next year.
Oh, dude.
I'm already deciding that I'm going back. I think it could turn out to be one of those things that it just is a nice time to everybody get together. It's kind of kind of semi-central, I guess, for seems a lot of people make it. And I might end up doing that instead of the national next year.
Yeah,
Once I do that this year, so
if I had to choose and I could only do one, I'd rather do that if it's like that every year. If they outgrow it and it moves and you can't stay in that hotel, then that changes the whole dynamic. But man, like just the get-togethers we had, the trade night, the YouTube get-together the night before, being in the lobby.
How about getting in early with the press passes now that we're both big members of the press? I don't know how we managed to get that, but that was quite the invitation, and that really helped. The whole trip, it got to show you a little bit of what's going on before, how all the dealers are zigzagging all over the place.
Yeah,
they're all just taking all the good cards before you get a chance to get them.
Yeah,
I actually was able to get one right before a dealer came up at the show was going to start.
Is that when you bought one of yours?
I bought it like literally 10 minutes before the show was going to start on Friday.
So
And as I was pulling away, and of all people, it was my first deal with Howard,
no kidding.
our friend Howie.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you know how hard he is to deal with. He jacks everything up out of the price stratosphere. So he
Well,
happened to have a nice card there, and yeah, he actually kind of schnookered me on another card, though. I don't know if I should go into that. You want to hear about my schnooker?
well, I don't know if you want to piss off Howie in case he has
I
something
don't
else
care.
he
I'm
got in
never going to
the
buy from him again.
future. Well, he was on with who was Theo,
Yeah, I caught part
and
of
I
that. That's
watched
good.
that. He talked
He's really
about
neat. He's a
how
great interview.
the year before he didn't sell that much, and so he realized he needed to get a little bit more creative with his with his how much his inventory brings and sharpen his pencil. So I don't know whether that meant he realized he was overpriced or whatever, but he's always been good to me, man.
Oh, yeah.
I don't.
Look, the guy's a quality guy and a great dealer. Let's not. I just saying that. There's just certain guys that are easier to buy from than others. And then after I bought the card from him and counted out $4,400 cash, partly my fault because I should have tried to package a card with it. There was another card that I kind of saw there, and then after I made the deal with him, I went back and asked him about the other card, and he really wasn't in any mode to budge from that on that one. And
Yeah.
then I saw another one of our YouTuber friends coming around, James Gillum. He showed me the card he got, and it was the same one from Howard. I
Oh,
asked him what he paid for it, and it was less money than Howard was going to give it to me for
oh man.
after I spent 4,400. So needless to say,
Well,
here's to
which
you,
one was
Howard.
that?
I'm just
Let's
going to
share it.
drink it off. No hard feelings, Howie. Just going to be hard to sell me another $4,400 card.
Well, which card was that you picked up? I can share it on the screen.
Yeah, it's the Cobb, the
Okay. Well, so
1922, this one, the 1922 E122 Cobb. And of course, Howard deals in rare items.
yeah.
And this card, as he was selling it, it's a pop one.
Oh
Nothing like
wow.
it in the world. Everything's a pop one. Never seen, never. But it
Fresh
turns
to the
out
hobby.
there are fresh, very fresh. And the corners are extremely honest,
Yeah, they
2.5, as you'll
are.
see. But
Yeah.
yeah, it turns out that there's only, I think, one or two PSA graded and four SGC graded, and this is the second highest PSA SGC graded. It's really nice. It's this very common pose, I guess, that they use. But this is a 1922
Yeah. Can
E122.
you see it on your screen?
I can, but I mean, I thought, did you have it come up? Did you have it on your little sheet
Yeah.
there? You could pop it up. So,
I've got it popped up. You can't see it right
oh,
now?
oh no, I can't. But
Huh.
that's okay. If it's on there, it must be
Yeah, it's on there. I don't know why
okay.
you can't.
Good. That's all right.
So yeah, that's weird.
But so
So
you can see the card. It's a beautiful card, and I'm really happy with it. And like I said, though, the thing that one of my pet peeves from last week was that all the dealers run around to each other, and they all buy from each other before the show starts. So if you see something you like, you're going to have to pay extra. And turns out, right as I was leaving, after I tried to make that second deal with Howard, I walked away. And Ed Burns from around the corner, another just great dealer, walks over, asks Howard, "Do you still have that Cobb?" And he said, pointed to me, that guy took it.
oh wow.
So and he said, "Ah, damn." So that dealer was going to buy it and take it right over across to his
Yeah.
shelf, and it would have been an extra $1,000. So that's one for the good guys. We finally won one on that.
So you
But then
want to share the second one you got?
the second one I got
I
was,
I just
you
put
got
it
it.
on the screen,
You
Mike.
did. Okay. So
Yep.
it's the Wagner.
Yep.
Yeah, this is a really nice. There's a story with this 1909 E101 from Steve Wilk.
Yep.
And he's with Diamond Cardboard. And I just love dealing with him. It's interestingly enough, last year he got about $9,000 of my budget as well. So he got a good majority of my budget last year. And after going with everybody, and he took a check, it was a marvelous deal. In fact, the fact that really nobody was around, there was a guy there that witnessed the whole thing. His name was Brian. He was that T206 collector. He bought everybody beers at the Friday night show.
Oh
We
yeah.
opened packs with him. You remember him?
Yeah.
But if I never did get his contact number. So if he would reach out to somebody in our group or whatever, I know he's local here in my area, and Orange County or something. I'd really like to hook up with him, but he sat next to me and he was going to negotiate for some cards. He goes, "Well, let's see how you do it." He goes, "I've watched you before. Let's see what you're going to do." So I negotiated it. I brought my check out because I knew I didn't have enough cash on me. So I already, and he's taken checks from me in the past. So he says, "Yeah, I'll take the check." I said, "Okay." So I start writing the check, fake writing with a D. I go, "So this check is going to go to Diamond Cardboard." And then I said, "Okay, now let's get the amount here." I go, "This has to have a 7 on it." So I'm going to write S. And before I do, though, and so he said, "No, man, I can't. I just can't do that." We ended up talking it down. I said, and he said 8,000 is the best I can do. And he had 10,000 listed on it. That's quite a lot for a dealer to
Yeah,
come
that is.
down. And it was, the comps were right about 82 or so. The card's beautiful, as you can see.
Yeah.
And so I said, "All right, it's diamond cardboard." I wrote it out for 70. I said, "But my good conscience can't let me write this for 8,000." I wrote it for 7,700 and I gave him 300 cash. So he was happy. I
Yeah.
was happy. I got the card. And honestly, those are the only two cards, significant cards really, that I bought there. That was the end of my budget. But I really enjoyed going around spending everybody else's money. I was there when
Yeah.
you bought a significant card from Tim Payne. Tell us about that one.
So yeah, that one was the Gehrig, the 33 Gehrig.
Yeah.
I really wanted that one. And it, by the way, anybody that's watching this right now, if you want to see my pickups, I did a whole Strongsville pickup video. That's why I didn't load these in. But yeah, I picked up some good cards. I'll share it. I didn't
Yeah.
load it.
And
Where,
again, another dealer that I just learned, I always want to try to buy something from them. Uh, Tim Payne prices his cards fairly. Look at this. The
yeah,
registration on that is great. I saw that up close. We talked about that, how
yeah,
hard that card is to find
yeah.
with that registration.
When you can read the NY on his hat, that's the key.
Yeah, the
Um,
guys on Rough Cuts were talking about that last night. We're big fans of that show.
yeah, yeah. I
If
saw
they're
that.
not, if nobody is subscribed to that, because I don't think they have more than 85 or 100 subscribers. That's probably the three best guys to talk about cards if you ever want to learn about
Yeah,
vintage cards. You know them from Instagram,
yep,
but they come on kind of late, but we really got to push these guys. Matthew, 1956 Tops guy, he's been around for a long
yeah,
time and different shows, and I would just respect those guys as collectors so much. But
yeah,
they talked about that. That card is phenomenal. You ended up with that. You had so many, but
yeah,
I was at Stan's table buying cards, one right after another. The first one was for Sammy. The next one was for Orlando. Which we bringing up Orlando. If
yes,
Orlando's watching this, I mean, which we hope he is by now. I think he'll be out of the hospital hopefully by this week. So
yeah,
fingers crossed, prayers for Orlando. We know everybody's been pulling for him. But that was quite great being part of
yeah,
that deal with him, and a great thing that you did, getting rallying everybody around the community. So Orlando, yeah, peace, love to you. We love you, and get well soon. But that was quite a time for me. There was Stan, and then Greg Miller bought a card.
yeah,
These guys all spent boom, 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 right after another, and I
yeah.
got to be, I got him to throw in free plastic penny sleevers, the card
Oh,
graders for
slab
everybody.
covers.
That's a pet peeve. Let's talk about some pet peeves.
Yeah,
That's a pet peeve of
well,
mine.
one of the
When they
things too that one of the things I got out of it because I haven't been doing shows a long time. Most of my
Mhm.
stuff I buy online, but being there for really 3 days because we got to be in there that night. Um, Being there for that long, I got to talk to the dealers a little bit more, and I felt like I know who they are, and then I know they know who I am. So
Uh-huh.
you kind of building a rapport there. And one of the guys, of course, I already knew Ash really well, and I had bought some stuff from Howard at the National
Hmm.
last year. She was Show Jackson in a magazine, and so those guys knew me. But there's some of them in there that maybe they know me from having a YouTube channel. I don't know. But one of the guys was that young guy right there behind Ash, Garrett.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize this. I walked up and I said, "Hey, let me see." He said, "Hey, Tony," and he called me by name, and I was kind of caught off guard. And then I realized we got to talking, and he's got a big presence on Facebook,
Yeah.
like Garrett Wells. I didn't know
Oh,
that. I
he's a
had
great
bought
kid. I'm so impressed with him.
I had bought cards from him off Facebook. So
Okay.
so anyways, that was
And
neat.
me too.
Where I was,
I've bought cards with him off of Facebook. He was there with his dad. I got to meet his dad, shake his hand too, and tell him what I. And you see that in the last year, he's really upped his game quite a bit. He got
oh
that
yeah,
table there, but I mean, he's earned everything. And there's a guy that nobody works harder than him. And you know how while I do have a pet peeve going to dealers and picking off all the stuff, like there's an art to it,
yeah,
and I don't begrudge anybody trying to make a living like that, you know. So,
yeah,
and the guys like him, the Gordy Bonker kid,
yeah.
these
Gordy.
kids know what they're doing. I mean, he's got his calculator out. He goes to the table. He's at William Chappell's table. I'm sitting there with him. I'm trying to watch what he's doing to see if I can maybe if I'm going to want to buy any of that shit that I know he's going to buy. And I asked, like, how do you know what to look through? And he says, "Well, I come here, every couple of few hours. He picks out the stuff. He knows what's new in the pile, which pile is he hasn't seen. He looks at it. He sets it all out. William's there calculating it. Bang, bang, bang. Hands him the cards, and boom, off he goes. But I mean, professional, like you
Yeah,
can't believe, it, and working his ass off, and knowing, learning how to make deals
yeah,
and yeah, it just a really this is the kind of guy that's going to be in this probably for the long term, and
yeah,
he's the hope for the future for our vintage cards.
yeah,
Trusted kid. And he'll always work with you the best he can, and he's starting to come up with some really great stuff. Right?
yeah. He
I mean,
is.
you saw before he used to be the off center king or the trim king. Now he's buying stuff. He sold that gorgeous Gibson, that seven
Hmm.
and a half. It was perfectly centered.
Yeah,
He's honed in his game. He's learned from the best,
yeah.
and
Well,
wish him well.
well, Facebook. I don't know. You said you've bought stuff. I've bought stuff
Yeah.
too. Last night, when I was watching, or actually it was this morning. I didn't get to watch Rough Cuts live, but I watched it this morning.
Hmm.
They were talking about Jonathan was talking about how he got ripped off, and he's a lawyer, and he
Yeah.
started sending all this lawyerese at this dude,
He's so nice, isn't
and
he?
dude, it scared me, like, because I bought some big cards on Facebook. I just bought one recently. I mean,
Yeah.
this card right here. I upgraded my 55 Jackie. This one right here has got the best wishes signature.
Oh,
Well, I'll
I
pull that
love
up
it.
here.
That's
I'm
beautiful.
gonna pull it up. I don't
All right.
again. I don't. You probably can't see it,
I can't see it, but that's
uh,
okay.
but yeah, the one on the top left I just bought off Facebook, and that was a substantial purchase. Now, when I did that, I went through. I make sure that I find common people. I took it off now, Petty. I
Okay.
found common people that they know, and I
Yeah.
recently bought a big Cuban card, a Carmelo Deportivo. I bought one of
Your
those,
Spanish
and
is getting good.
yeah,
El
well,
Carmelo
yeah,
Portivo.
the guy was
Y
out of
Mamapa.
Miami. So
Right.
I asked him, I said, "Do you know Orlando?" This was before Orlando went in the hospital and before we knew what was going on. He goes,
Uh-huh.
"Yeah, I see him at all the South Florida shows." And I said, "Well, do you mind if I send out a text with Orlando on it and you on it? And I'll ask Orlando about you and just, make sure you're on the up and up." He said, "No problem
Yeah.
with that at all." Well, on this Jackie, we had Ash in common. So I
Right.
sent Ash a text with this guy and said, "Ash, do you know him?" And Ash said, "Yeah, he's on the up and up. He's a great guy." So that's kind of how I cover myself. But I mean,
Yeah.
that card was a 5-figure big time card. And
Yeah.
so after listening to Jonathan's what happened to him with his
O-
story, man, it kind of scared me.
Over
I was like, dude,
$500
yeah, for
versus
500
eh,
times that by a lot. That's
no,
what
I
I
know
just
we send around, and part of the reasons why I always wanted to deal in checks was I just feel like I have a you're traceable with a check a little bit more. You've got to deposit into your bank, and it works both ways though too. Like I can be held accountable and be put in jail for writing a bad check.
yeah,
So I guess that's part of my old man thinking that I've always wanted to. I'm trying to use zeal when I can, and
yeah.
whatever. But like I said, I'm gonna bring my one check to every show. Mm.
It's your trademark
It
now.
is, it really is, and you never know. You're never out of anything, when you
Yeah.
because speaking about Garrett, as I got towards the end on Saturday leaving, I had some money left or whatever, but I didn't really want to spend it. I had looked the room and nothing really was catching my fancy. And I said, I've always loved buying from you, Garrett. He goes, well, he says, look around. He goes, I know you got about 2,500 in your pocket. I felt around. I go, "That's fucking guy. How does he know how much I got in my I think I might have had about 4,000, but I said, yeah, I said, you're pretty close. I said, I think I might just go home with it though. But
Yeah.
like he knows me, he knew that I still had money left enough to buy something. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
funny. But
before you get into your pet peeve, I'm just going to share one.
yeah,
And I texted you this other day, and I thought it was
yeah.
funny. But it's true. I shared it with my buddies. On a couple of the Facebook card pages, they have the deal or no deal. And I remember when I first got into that, it was DOND. And I thought, what the crap is that? So
Same thing I thought.
I had to put a post on. I said, what is DOND? And they said deal or no deal. And man, that's the most bogus, stupid piece of crap. This is my Tony minute. It's bull crap, man. So deal or no deal, all that stands for. So if any of you guys are on Facebook, you know this to be true. Leave a comment, tell me your experience. But deal or no deal is this. I'm going to put this on Facebook and put deal or no deal. And you know what that means, Petty?
I
What
don't
that
know. But
means is
probably means like I'm not selling, but if you make me a ridiculous offer, I'll take it.
no, well, partly, but it also means I'm not selling it, but I want to show it off and I want you to beg at my feet and give me stupid. I want to get a bunch of people giving me a bunch of
Oh,
attention
nice
and
card, great card.
no,
How about putting a price on it?
exactly. If you want to sell the stupid thing, put a price. Even if it's ridiculous, put a price on it. It's
It seems to be
dumb.
popular in that forum that I just signed up for, that 85 graded and under or
Yeah,
something like that. And it's the same guys, that we deal with in the other 3 or 4 Facebook
yeah.
groups, which are great, but they somehow that's kind of done there. And I've never seen it before, and
I think
I've
it's
never made
stupid.
a bid, and I'll never make anything like that. How
No,
about you just tell me how much you want for the damn card? And
exactly.
a lot of people that I've been finding out lately, they do put a price on the card that's kind of close to comps or fair, and
Yeah,
then they're just not going to negotiate.
no.
And they kind of get offended when you ask them, or when I think one of the deals I was telling you about was a guy that was selling a Bell brand Kofax on Net 54. I think he was asking 1,600. I offered him 1,400. I thought that was pretty good. If he has it on eBay, he's going to take
Oh yeah,
13% haircut. And I figured out maybe I'll pay 1,500, and I might even pay his shipping $50 or something.
yeah,
And I figured offer him 14. He says, how about 15? I say, okay. I mean, how hard is that? You come
yeah,
in the middle, right? But he just said, no, thanks.
yeah,
Never even responded like I'm firm, and I wrote him back, go, how about no counter? He goes, I don't, didn't really want to get in a pissing match. I go, okay, for $100 or whatever. And I trust me, I don't need the card that bad.
yeah,
I'd much rather have, if you'd have said 1,600 firm, maybe I would have just bought it for
yeah.
1,600.
Or the
But I
guys
don't
on
know.
eBay where they have make an offer and you
Well,
click
that was
on
another
that.
one I just bought the other. We saw that he had a 379 or best offer, and I only bought it because I was goaded into it because I've been so good this year about not buying crap. I wonder if I have that card around. Let me show that, because
Yeah, I'll make an offer kind of lower than what I want to pay, thinking, all
well,
right,
so
we'll
it
meet in the
was
middle.
of all guys, it was Steve Grad, that idiot on Pawn Stars. He was the old PSA guy,
Oh yeah,
and it was an ice cream card. But our buddy Greg, he says, "Oh, you're not going to believe what I just bought." And I go, and he shows us a picture, and it's a yin yang Roger Peckinpah, right?
yeah, yeah. He loves that
And I go,
guy.
you dirty bastard. I go, that's been in my cart for like 3 weeks. It was on that BBC. They had bought uh, in the Heritage auction, I think, about a month ago, a set. And
Yeah,
they sold it all right there, with right in eBay immediately before they even got the cards,
yeah,
and they were all pretty well priced. I think a couple of our buddies bought some. I bought one, but then I went back a week later to see what was left. The Peckinpah was in there. I put it in my cart along with this one when it came out,
right.
and then Greg pulled the trigger on that. And I go, oh, that's good. At least it stayed in the family. And I go, now I got to buy this one. But it's set 379 or best offer. I offered 300. No. 325, no. Instant decline. 350, no. 365, or my last offer was 365. No.
Yeah.
I go, all right, 369, buy it now. You drive a hard bargain. I mean, what's the best offer?
Yeah, exactly. Why even put it on there?
Well, I think it must be something, maybe it's a percentage point or two cheaper.
Yeah.
And the other thing I noticed was that it came directly from Las Vegas, where Grad is at, so it didn't go to the authentication program,
Oh, wow.
which is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
And it was packed really, really nice. But when I got it, the card was jammed up in the holder, which is
Yeah.
one of my favorite, another one of my pet peeves. And I mean, literally, it was shades of that Wagner that
Yeah.
we talked about before. And I said,
Yeah.
well, this one was only $400. So I said, I'm gonna just jam the shit out of it. I whacked it on the table and it came out.
Well, so do you want to get into your little trip to PSA? Do you want
I
to?
mean, we could talk about. I need a little air. It's getting a little hot in here with all my drinking. Let me go over here and open this
Oh,
door
I
because
know.
I got when I start talking about PSA, it gets my blood pressure up. I think I'm going to take my blood pressure medicine right now, just
He's
in
taking
case,
blood pressure medicine and
because
washing
first of
it
all, I'm
down
going
with
to talk a
bourbon.
little bit about PSA tonight, and we're going to put the final touches on this grading bullshit with SGC.
Yep, yep. We'll get to that after your story.
All right, so back in February, I've been pretty much anti-grading for quite a while with crossovers, just with all the bullshit. I used to grade, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, but then once I've got my collection established to where really I don't want to do any more grading where I'm at right now, just buying PSA or SGC quality cards the best I can. I decided that I would take some cards down to the Anaheim show and get them reholdered. Because they do look so much nicer in the holders. They go on their website. You can click on the cert. They've got the new program that you can scan your card. Bam, it comes right up. But probably 150 cards I have that were old on the old slabs, and 100 of them probably are overgraded, or they're low eye appeals, you call them, or whatever, even though for whatever the grade. And that's one thing that when you get the cards back, you actually feel good about it, even though
Yeah,
you paid them double like an
yeah,
idiot, right? But you don't get your grades are what they were. They can't screw you like they always do. When you
yeah.
have crossovers, you're always going to get screwed a grade or two down from SGC to PSA or whatever. So coming back, the cards really look great in the new holders. 12 of them I got. I got them in a week. Picked them up at the Long Beach Expo. I told you guys. So then I said they've got a walk-in program down at in Newport or wherever the hell it is, Santa Ana.
Yeah.
And it's about 60 miles for me, so about an hour and 15 minutes with traffic or so. So I said, I'm going to take another 50 cards in, my 50 best cards. I mean, lots of mantles, and there's probably, I don't know, 50 grand worth of cards in there altogether. That's a lot to drop off with them. First of all, they don't show up on their screen for like 20 business days. It was literally a month until they showed received. Then they
Dang.
show it. Then they show a date. So imagine, I mean, if you were to mail these in, you'd even be shitting bricks more than when you dropped them off. So I had a
Yeah.
feeling. But if they did show up, everything logged in, and they initially showed a date coming back July 4th. But I dropped those off in March, I guess, March to beginning of March 10th or 12th, 11th, or whatever. So those are in the system, and then lo and behold, I won that Wagner,
Yeah,
that
I'll pull it up on the
E90-2.
screen. It's on
So
the
you may
screen now.
It's on the screen now,
Yeah.
so I'll show it again now because look at what it turned into.
Yeah, I'll do a
I mean, it
before and
looked
after.
like shit on that old holder, and that's why I got a pretty good deal on it, all in all,
Yeah.
considering the other two that just sold at REA last week or a couple weeks ago, whatever their last thing was. So I said to myself, well, now I'm going to go there and I'm going to take that card after Strongsville was all over and I knew I'd be home in 5 days or whatever. And I put it all in there, drove it down. I took another 100 cards, though, my last 100 to be reholdered. I said, I might as well just dump this shit on them
So
because
how
I don't
much
know
do
how
they charge you for that?
they $12.99 a card.
Okay.
So
No matter how expensive it is.
Well, no, that's only up to 2,000.
Okay.
Okay, so like the Wagner, you had your choice of either like a $50,000 insurance or 100,000. So I got the higher insurance policy just in case, and it turns out they actually credited me. So they did it. So not only did they do it right, but they did it for less than I had agreed on. So I went down there. I had a Coke's tip to grade. I figured I might as well just do it all. That was $30. I gave him that. I gave him all the 100 cards. They went through them all. Checked them in. I said, okay, here's the granddaddy. Here's the enchilada. Let's. I wanted to make sure that it got put in the right holder, because my pet peeve is, and we're going to go into this in a petty minute. If you're still with me, class, I know I'm rambling, but trust me, I'm going to ramble twice as long in the petty minute, and twice as hard, because what I got to say now, it's pretty nice, all in all, the service. So I said, look, this card, I showed him a picture of another Wagner card
Yeah.
that was the similar one that was in a shitty holder. Once again, all the way around with the plastic, not tight like that, not looking good.
I'm putting one on the screen right now of
That's an M116, I think.
Yeah, I'm doing the one with the Babe Ruth, like the
Okay.
$350,000 card in the bag.
And somebody paid a shitload of money to get that graded, probably $10,000 for that.
Yeah.
Imagine. So anyway, I asked the guy, I said, hey, I don't, want to be too much a pain, but I said, what are my pet peeves? And I said, and a lot of people in the hobby are talking about this. I said, I really want to make sure this goes in the same holder that it's in.
Yeah.
Or if you look at another one here, I showed him a picture of another one that was with the old number and the new holder. I said, can you just please make sure it's like this? And he says, let me check. So he asked the guy next to him, and the guy next to him couldn't have been a bigger dick, if you want to know the truth. He says, there's no special requests. I said, what do you fucking think this is, McDonald's? I'm not asking for no ketchup on my hamburger. I said, this is a $60,000 card here, and I'm not asking for a special request. I'm asking for you to do your job.
Yeah.
And I was nice about it. I wasn't like this worked up, but I started to get with the guy when he said that's a special request. I go, no, it's not.
No, it's not.
And I said it's just a statement. And
Yeah.
I said, and then he said, it's a special request. I said, dude, you can call it whatever you want, but I'm putting you on notice right now that if this card is put in a shitty holder, like you guys like to do, I go, I'm going to be right back in here.
Yeah.
And he says, it's a special request and we're not taking. I said, dude, let me just please, or he said, what do you mean? You're putting me on notice. I go, not you. I go, it's a figure of speech. I go, I'm putting PSA on notice. Could you just please get your supervisor over here? I asked the guy to come over. He was very nice. His name's James Rivera. There's his card. And I said, dude, I don't know why this guy wants to give me so much problems here. I go, I just want to make sure. I guess, I brought the card in 60 miles. You've been having a habit of putting these cards in just horrible holders. I said, I paid for 5-day service, but I'll be happy to wait. If it takes 2 weeks or a month to get it in the right holder, could you just please make a note? It's not a special request. He said he actually took the stupid paper, he wrote on it, and he says, if you have any problems, please, he goes, feel free to email me. He says, I'll make sure that it's taken care of if it's not done right. He's been,
that's awesome.
It was that easy. So
yeah,
that was the first time. I mean, I would say that PSA, I mean, even though they tried to be a dick and didn't want to service the customer, they in the end they did. And when it came back great.
Yeah.
I'm very happy with it. So I want to thank PSA for that. And thank Mr. James Rivera of PSA for that. However, I think you can train your people a little bit better and to be a little bit nicer for guys that come in with $100,000 worth of cards. I know it's not a big deal that you see $100,000 worth of cards every minute and Pokemons here and there all over the place, but I'm a collector. I'm not a dealer or seller. And I think that you owe it to the people to start putting these cards in the right holders.
Yeah.
And
it's your hard-earned money, dude.
And start treating people with a little bit of respect. That's all. Like, I mean, how about you? You have your own business. If a customer asks you to jump, how high are you going to jump? How high do you want me?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's how you got it. When you're too big for your britches, that's when you get your downfall. And we talked about when they were about to get bought, that was a bad thing for all of us, because when you're competing with somebody and you have an honest competitor, even though they were blowing SGC out of the water, but they still had competition, and so it made you have to be sharper, and you had to mind your P's and Q's. You had to do stuff the right way and treat your customers right, try to get your lead times down. But man, when you have no competition, the old saying is power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. That is where they're at, dude. They're in power.
It
There ain't
is hard to
nothing
believe
we
what
can
they've
do
created.
about it.
It is.
Nothing.
Well, there is something that we can do about it. I'm going to talk about it in the petty minute, but that's about all I can say. I mean, I think that we can, as collectors, we can start fighting this, and I mean, we have a somewhat of a platform. We need to. It's kind of starts with us. Maybe people won't hear us. Nat Turner, he doesn't give a shit. But I mean, once again, where's Peter?
Yeah.
Peter, you're with Collectors Universe now. I mean, do you still have a job? Where are you?
Yeah.
They're showing you on milk cartons. People are making fun of you. I mean, it's like, what, you're going to have to show up sooner or later and repair your reputation. You built up a good reputation in this industry, and now you're just turning it to shit, in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, that's
So,
exactly what's happening. But
anyway,
hey, man, it is what it is.
yeah,
I don't
we still
really,
love it.
I don't send off a lot of cards, but man, I've got a big old stack now of autograph cards that I bought raw, and I
Yeah,
can't send them to SGC. They have to go to PSA.
they do.
And so, they got me, man. I got to send them. But, if
They
let's
do.
just say all things are the same, lead time, let's say all the stuff we're talking about doesn't come into play. Which one do you prefer? Do you have a preference? Let's just say you had that Wagner and it was
Mm-hmm.
raw, and you had to send it to SGC or PSA. In either way, which one would you send it to, all things considered?
I think that I would rather have it in PSA, believe it or not, even though I'm not against SGC, and I really like the way the SG slabs look. But I think, when I was looking at my collection the other day, which I have right here at a little click of a Chingadera, I mean, I can tell you right now that out of I have 823 total graded cards, which is half of my cards that are, half are raw, half are graded. 484 are PSA, 314 are SGC, and then
Yeah,
a few Beckett and a few, here and there. And
yeah,
I always try to buy the card,
that's
but
what I do.
but in the end, it is all about the presentation and the way that they look mean a lot to me, just like centering means to Dylan. So I've always made fun or talked about Anal Eddie, and I joke every time. If you're collecting cards and you're putting shit in order, and you have an addiction like we all do to some extent, you have and it ADH to some to some
Yeah,
degree. Either it's centering, and for me, it's not always the centering, because I like the way they look anyway. I like
yeah,
honest corners just as much as I like centering,
yeah,
to be honest.
yeah,
But the thing that pisses me off more is when they haphazardly throw these great cards in into a holder that's not made for the card. You
yeah,
mean to tell me that after 25 years, you can't find a damn holder to put the card in?
yeah,
The right holder? I mean,
yeah,
or you're out of it, so now I'm just going to use any old frickin' holder I want?
yeah.
I mean, what the f? Is that really what it's come to? And it makes it look like shit.
Well,
And
it's
I
like
am
going
not
to
going
an
to bid on that anymore.
yeah, it's like going to an art gallery and they got an expensive piece of art framed. In the art, the actual piece of painting has slid down in the frame and isn't in the center of the frame. They wouldn't allow that. They fit the frame around the piece of art. It's to us, those cards, that's our pieces of art. Why wouldn't
It
you
is.
why wouldn't you frame it in and do it correctly? Let
I
me show
mean,
you
you
one.
you talk about eye appeal, and that's everything. And you look at guys that are spending, $175,000 on a 1.5 that looks like a 5. That
Yep.
should be a $50,000 card, right?
Yeah. Let me
Because it's got great eye appeal. But you put that thing in a crappy holder and it ruins the eye appeal.
I mean,
Well,
check
who are you
this one
helping?
out. That's a signed Joe Wood card. Look how out of center that
I
sucker
mean,
is.
you could tap it around, you could
I
hit
know,
it maybe and get it just right, but it's not in the right holder
but
for the card.
I just got this one back from SGC. I sent it on that grading thing from Strongsville.
Even that, look at it.
I know they put
You
it
know,
in a
it's an
baggie.
inch. It's that's what. Okay, because let's talk about what they're doing
Yeah,
now.
that's
We
what.
talked about this on
Yeah.
our live stream the other night. PSA or is collectors is dragging their holders right down into the mud, into the shit where PSA holders are with the plastic. They never used to do this with
Well,
SGC. They
this
would have it perfect.
so
There you
this one's
go.
an older one,
Huh.
and it doesn't have plastic in there. But watch it; it moves around in
But
there.
it's
It
not
isn't
moving.
tight.
Yeah, but it's not moving under like, is there I'd be careful with that because there's no chance it could go under.
I don't know, man. As thin as those
Okay.
bad boys are,
Yeah,
that
they're
worries
thin.
me. But
And that's
again,
why they put it in plastic.
that's before they were bought. So I think that might have
Yeah.
been something maybe they were doing. But then, I got this Cobby right here,
Mm-hmm.
and this is an old label. Look
Yeah,
how tight that one is.
exactly.
So yeah, I mean
That's beautiful.
it's but
When
they
did you
got it
get
in there
that? I
tight.
don't know that I saw that.
Yeah, so this one is the Globe
Oh,
Stores card. It's a low pop.
you're not kidding.
It's got stains on it and
Oh, I
stuff.
love the stains. More stains, the merrier.
But yeah, man, it's a cool card. I mean,
That is a great card.
yeah, I like
I'm
it.
sure you overbid me on that one. Thanks. The beauty.
Man, I don't even remember where I got that one.
I know.
I think that was an eBay purchase, possibly. I don't
Oh,
know. When I was building up my cobs,
boy, that's a beaut.
I got
Beaut.
a good bit of cobs, man. So
That's
I know
good. Me
you got
too. I
the cobs
love
too.
Cubs.
Yeah.
Yeah. You gotta
But man,
have the
I was
corn and
real
the
pleased
Cubs.
with that one. I sent that one in raw. That's the one I had raw that we were holding at the table at
Yeah, and I got
Strongsville.
it
We were
too.
eating. Yeah, dude, it got to end up getting a 2. I'm fired up about that.
I would be too. That's a hard card to get.
Yeah.
I mean, we all want more of those, but I mean, look, I wish they could do better even with those with the see, so I think they used to cut those to the card before.
Yeah, I think
I do believe
they use some sort of a CNC
of
or
a
something.
punch, yeah, like a punch
Yeah,
or
yeah,
something to
maybe
get the right
so.
size. And
Yeah.
when Nat took over PSA, he came out. That was when he was on the tour, the verbal
Yeah.
tour, and basically stroking everybody. It's we got these new 3D printers, and we're going to be coming out with new holders, and yeah, they had new
Yeah.
holders, but they're the same stupid sizes, and
So
to cut them because they know it's a problem, but they won't fix it.
so here's the one I got graded last year at the National in that 1 day thing that ended up a 2 day thing. This
Yeah,
51 mantle, and they put that insert in there, which it
yeah.
made it tighter, but it's thicker. Like on the back, the slab is a
It just
thicker
seems to be
slab.
something that they were doing at that time. I wonder what's the number on that? Is that 1 million or
It's a 90. It starts with a 9.5.
with a nine? So it's
But
fairly
this was
new.
graded at the National in Cleveland, so
So
it's
maybe
a
it was just something
relatively
they were
new.
doing. Maybe it was something they were doing at the national. And
Yeah.
my fear is so now I don't know. Also, speaking more of being where it's just kind of on a grading tangent here. Did you hear about? And I knew this back in February. I talked to Rob Veers, but I was sworn to secrecy, so I didn't. I might have told you before, but and I made mention in chat just screwing around, but nobody ever called me on it. Nobody ever cared. But it was announced yesterday, Rob, that PSA is coming into his store.
Really?
So in Burbank, they are going to have a PSA. Now, I heard it's only a drop off, but Rob told me that they're going to have a full-time employees there grading cards as
Wow.
well. So they're going to be a drop-off site and a grade site and everything
No
in the
kid.
new Burbank location. So I don't know which one is true necessarily. I don't know if they've announced what exactly the announcement was or what they decided on. But that it's similar to GameStop, other than GameStop's just a drop-off spot.
Yeah.
They're supposed to have actual PSA employees at Burbank where they can, fiddle through his cards, his $1, his 25-cent cards, and they can take them right over and get them graded right there. I don't know if
But
it'll be on, it probably won't be on the spot, but it
yeah, I was
might.
gonna say they won't have slabs in there, I wouldn't think. That'd
I
be
think from what Rob was telling me now, this is back in February, and I'm not gonna, I mean, Now that it's out in the open, I'm going to say what he told me. And that's how I recall it, was that they're
Huh.
going to have employees that are doing that.
Wow.
They're holdering and everything. Now it
No
may
kidding.
just be that they're just dropping off. They're going to drive it to Santa Ana because they're only 35 miles from Santa Ana.
Okay.
So it's
Yeah, that
fairly
would make
close. So
more
maybe
sense.
that would make more sense to take it there, but I don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
that's what he told me. They're going to, maybe they'll have some kind of a quick turnaround.
Yeah.
By the way, on that Wagner card that we showed that they reholdered, they had a 5-day service. I dropped it off on their Wednesday service. It was in the mail the following Monday, or it was packaged Monday, and it was delivered to me on Wednesday.
No kidding.
5 business days. So
Wow.
once again, thank you PSA for that. Now, while other people are waiting 90 days
Yeah.
and more
Well,
for everything.
SGC was set up at Strongsville, and I took some raw cards. I knew they were going to be there, and then
Mhm.
I bought a raw card while I was there,
Mhm.
and so I brought 2 Cracker Jacks. The other one was a Fred Luterus, which is a common. But anyways, I got that one back. But yeah, here it is. This one was missing a corner, but
I
it's
don't
just
care.
a common. But
Yeah,
it got
nice.
a 1. I knew it'd get a 1, but I wanted it
Mhm.
holdered. So I paid for that extra thing where it's get them quicker. Man,
Did
I
they
put
have, what do you mean? SGC had a quicker upcharge there?
yeah, I paid a little bit more, and I had my cards in a week at my house in Tennessee. So
Okay.
I was
I
really
mean, so
pleased with
that's
that.
something that you usually don't get from SGC. That must have been some kind of a show special. And like I said, when
Yeah.
I did my reholder special, that came, that was $39 a card. But so I was insured though up to 20,000 per card on that too.
Yeah.
And then I picked it up a week later in Long Beach, and they were all there. Another guy that we know, he dropped off at the same show on the regular service level special, still priced high,
Yeah.
29 maybe for crossover. So he gives them his SGC, he wants them crossed over. And by the way, none of them came out good. They were
Right.
all ones, or 1 to 1.5 grade lower. Like
Yeah.
he said, everyone. And this guy has an eagle eye. So
Oh,
it's like, you know what? You're just not, and he sends them in the case. He doesn't crack them out or anything like that. So they all do get crossed over, but every one of them he pays a punishment fee on
yeah.
it. But he's just now getting them to pop, whatever that means. They just popped after 80 days.
That means it's online and you can actually see what the grades are before they ship it out.
Oh, that's a pop. I thought
Yeah,
it
it's
was
on.
population. So it's got a
No.
dual meaning. It's a dual meaning. It's
Well,
a
it just popped
population
up.
and a pop. They pop up,
Yeah, it just popped up.
but they don't pop like pop on the
Yeah,
screen.
yeah.
Pop, popsicle, pop on
Well,
top.
have you had enough bourbon? You're ready to do your
I
minute.
actually haven't yet. It's quite a
Okay.
funny. And I'll tell you what. It's been a rough day. I don't trust myself. What I'm about to say. I've got nothing written. Oh.
Do you even have it in your mind what you're going to talk about?
Not really.
That's
I'm
called
gonna.
winging it.
That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna wing it. I guess I'm. I mean, I could go anytime. Are we about time?
Well, we're getting
What do you
close. I
think
just
out
want
there, class? Should we do the penny minute?
to. Hey, is that the new Heritage auction book there behind you? The
It
33
is. Yeah,
Gaudium?
we're supposed to do that show
Oh yeah, yeah.
coming
That's a
up.
beautiful book.
I'll tell you what, those shows are coming up awful quick lately.
Man, I don't know
But
how in the world those auctions, as many of those as they have, and I don't know
some
how.
of these
First off,
cards.
yeah, look at those.
I mean, it's incredible the cards that are out here, the money
Yeah,
that's being spent.
I
I
mean
mean,
the
I really
fact
need I know really need a red Ruth.
I need a red one, I need a yellow one, and I need a
Mm,
green one. I got the 144, the full body, but man,
yeah.
I want to get all 4 of them.
Me too. I mean, I need all the parallels, but I mean, how the hell
Yeah.
can you collect cards and not have? I mean, fact that I only have 3 of them. I've got like 25 Ruths. Of course, I'm not a super Ruth collector. If I was a super collector, I'd be on Dan's show. But of course, I only got 40 Cobbs and 28 Wagners. So I'm not a super collector in any one thing. I need to find my niche. Maybe Aurora Records. No, that's Jason.
Yeah,
Maybe Kellogg's. Nope, that's other
you're
guys.
on the
I got
way to
no.
the Wagners, man. You've shown 2
I'm nothing.
tonight.
I got nothing though. I
You
mean,
need the
it's just
T206 and you're set.
Yeah, all I got to do. You think that's going to go over well with Cognac? Because, like they say, you know what they say, Tony? Eventually, you got to talk to them. All right, so let's do this
All
penny
right,
minute.
so let me get my phone ready. You ready for the
All right,
timer?
I guess.
All right, here we go.
All right, PSA, this is for you. SGC, what's going on? We hear that you guys might be leaving. We hear this Mike Moykahan guy, Susie Sunshine, coming out saying you're going to be closed in 18 months. Peter's missing. 3D Kids got you on the milk carton. You're clearly not coming out and saying everything. You wiped your Instagram clean. You're nowhere to be found. You even got a golden parachute, but you got to come back sometime. And we're asking you to come back now, Peter, because we need you. The hobby needs you, and you need to stand up for something. Because when you don't stand up for something in life, that's the worst thing you could do as a kid. You need to always stand for something. And dude, you just aren't doing it. PSA, get your shit together. Put these goddamn cards in the right holders for once. And for me, personally, I'm boycotting your ass from this day forward. No more PSA, no more holders, no more SGC, no more holders until you fix this damn problem with this ugly ass holders and you're putting them in sideways and going this way and going that way and going all kinds of different ways. We don't want it. You're out.
You feel better?
Actually, I do. I feel so much better. I thank God I took my. I'm going to need another pill and another swig because I swallowed a lot of aggression today.
That was awesome, dude. I mean, that was probably your most heated rant yet.
Really?
Yeah, I mean,
not too many F-bomb. I did cuss once.
Yeah, you did. You went GD.
I try. I know I shouldn't have done that with you.
Yeah,
It's not because I
mean,
never do that. That's against my religion.
Yeah, but it was coming
But
from.
I'm upset. I'm upset. I just want them to treat their customers better. And you know what? It wouldn't hurt to come out on some of these shows or do a little something for the public. You come out and you verbal blowjob people at the Tops shows and the Fan Fest shows and Fanatics this and that and just dumb shit like this Fanatics. I mean, we didn't even talk about that with this stupid Chrome crap program with the red dot. You have 9 guys on the red dots aren't even playing. You got 20 red dots, and I can get $100 for a red dot.
Let's do it again.
No, not no. That'll be for next week on the red dots after those things come out. But you're charging like $200 a box or something.
Yeah, I don't even understand
you're just killing. I mean, I don't know if they're testing the hobby or what it is. They're trying to come up with new innovative things. But who the hell comes up with this?
I don't know.
Do they not have a brain over there?
They're sitting around in some office thinking, all right, let's throw some stuff against the wall and see what sticks. And some moron came up with that idea. So
$100 if he's rookie of the year. And you got 20 guys with these red things. 9 guys aren't even playing. I guarantee you the rookie of the year probably doesn't even come from those dots. And then you got to wait till next year. And you got to, now I need to be a Cy Young Award winner or an MVP guy. Then I got to wait 20 years till I'm in the Hall of Fame. I got to have a 20-year career. I'm going to be like Mike Trout. I'm going to hit homers, hit 180. And oh, my knee, it hurts again. And now I'm out for, whoops-a-daisy. Then I'm out for a week. Then I broke the keyboard. Sorry about that. Just breaking the keyboard. Nothing big. Then he's out for a week. Turns into 2 weeks. Then I need the surgery till the All-Star break. Now we've seen that show 3 years in a row. How many more times do I need to see it? I don't need to make $1,000 by holding cards for 20 years. I mean,
but the thing is, if he's a Hall of Famer, it'd be worth more than that anyways.
Of course, especially the 101 PSA 10s, which we all love. Forget the 9s.
Yeah, that's what I don't understand about it. If he's rookie of the year and it's a PSA 10, it's worth more than $100 anyways. I mean, them cards are going for 30,000 and crap. So,
and you know, it's funny that some of the people though have called it out, but you got these idiots like I call them idiots, but they're really not these. But they're homers, guys like this nonsense cards. I love their show with Gio. I mean, nobody's a bigger shill for the industry than Gio and his friend and his buddy Jesse. Again, I listen to their show all the time, and I don't. The thing is I don't collect what they sell. and their stupid breaking and his ripping off people with his other business and all that. But yet he's still right back into breaking and with the whatnot or this not and that not. But but then, he's got time to talk about what a great idea this is and how his tops, because he wants his allocation. And then you got Jeff Wilson. I mean, let's talk about him. So I don't know how it happened, but I know where. So here, the other thing is this: you did a petty minute with Miller the other day with our friend, a Miller minute.
Yeah.
You see how nice and controlled he was, and how articulate, and just how beautiful he spoke and
He was a
eloquent.
teacher.
Well, I'm not a teacher. I don't talk bullshit to kids. I talk to frickin' men about cards, and I'm trying to tell you guys the truth.
Yeah.
That these guys are carnival barker, idiot jackoffs.
Yeah.
And so here's the thing that comes up in my feed. You know how much I just despised Jeff Wilson from day one,
Yeah, I know.
and how I knew all his shit. He was going to lose millions, and I used to be the only one in there, and I used to listen to him just to laugh and go, dude, you're going to be so sorry someday. This was back in 2020. Sure enough, fast forward, but now he's in there. He's got the face on his thumbnail. Is this a great idea? So him and Teabag come on, and Teabag has even said on other podcasts, like he was on Jeremy Lee, and Teabag says, I don't think it's the greatest idea, and I do respect him quite a bit because he's got to be a shill for Jeff, but he really does kind of tell his own side, and so I will give him some respect because he's a man. He
Yeah.
might be a teabag and a little bald in the head, a little dopey, but he does call it like he sees it.
Yeah.
So, but on this show, it comes up on my feed, and I like to listen to shit in the middle of the night. So I kind of have it like on a rotation. It's in my ear. And who comes on? Goof Wilson, goofing. So I listen to his shit and how he's just, yeah, rah, 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 oh, we're going to with this great book, Chrome thing. And Teapot's right with him. He's not calling him out or saying anything. And then I go back in the morning, I go, what in the hell did I just listen to? I look it up. And I see all the responses, how negative they are. I mean, there's literally more negative. And to his credit, he's leaving them all up there. He's taking it bullet for the, for the team or whatever. And it's just embarrassing how many people. So I think that the people are finally onto him at least.
Yeah.
And he's just such a shill. And I mean, why don't you just call it out what it is? It's a bad, stupid idea. And call but what are they going to do? Cut you off because you tell them the truth? How about you listen to the truth?
Yeah.
If you're a company.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm sorry I monopolized all the whole show tonight. You just shook I never saw you smile and shake your head like you were just like this all night.
Oh man,
I'm sorry, but I told you I had a rough day and it was really hard on you.
You need to brush your hair because it got all out of whack. You lost your composure there for a minute.
I've lost my equanimity.
Well, man, we're gonna wrap this up because if we go over an hour, nobody will watch it.
I know it. I know. So anyway, half of this is just BS. A lot of it's from my heart, though, and I'm just telling you guys. Like right now, I am on a PSA and an SGC boycott because I demand more from myself as a business. I don't disappear from my customers.
No, you can't.
And I think what they're doing is by avoiding the public and keeping Peter out of the way like this is just a disgrace, really, in all honesty. And by not owning up to what little issues, SGC and their stupid register, they've been having this register for 10 years, Tony. It's never happening, and now it's never going to happen unless they cross paths or whatever. So both companies are effed in the head. Here's to you, PSA, one for you, one for you, SGC. That's what I have to say. Other than that, I love the cards. It's great. Mangini, go watch him. Buy the card. Boy, that's one thing that I never thought I'd heard myself say. Joining with the club. Buy the card, not the grade.
That's right. Well, on that, we're going to end it.
All right, guys.
You got to come up with some more stuff because you used a lot of bullets in your gun. So
you told me you had a bad throat tonight. I wanted to make sure you didn't have to do too much talking.
No, man, you're good. Well, Petty, thanks,
dude.
buddy.
I love you, Tony, man. Thank you guys for watching. If you made it this far, appreciate you guys, and have a good one. Peace out. Love everybody.
Love you guys. Thanks for watching.
Man.
Bye.
Thank you.